Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Air Jordan 37 Low. So this shoe is going for 175 bucks. The regular Air Jordan 37 is going for 185 bucks, so only a $10 price difference, I guess. This little thing, this little material right here is worth $10. Yeah, it is still available, like both the low and the regular Jordan 37. So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. And also if you guys do want to follow me on socials and also my Discord, they're all going to be down in the description box below. But let's get it started off with the Tracciones, and the traction is identical to the regular Jordan 37. So we have a solid rubber outsole in the low in this colorway that I have. We have like black and white, and also the Jumpman logo here in the heel. It's kind of like a modified herringbone traction pattern a little bit. Of course, it does take inspiration from the original Jordan 7, and also we can see that it is a decoupled outsole just like the regular Jordan 37, and we can see the carbon fiber midfoot shin plate, right? So that's a nice little premium touch there. Of course, that's super nice, you know what I mean? As they kind of make up for it for the price. The price is pretty expensive. I mean, we'll get into material quality and stuff like that. But of course, the Jordan 37, the regular one, it had a great bite. You know, you needed to break it in, but once you did, it had a very, very good bite on a clean court. It did pick up a little bit of dust though, you know, just because it's like more of a flat type of outsole, right? And it doesn't move that much. It's like a harder rubber as well. So it did pick up a little bit of dust, so it'll probably perform pretty much identical to the regular Jordan 37. And yeah, that's actually not a bad thing. It's just not the best performance on dust, but also wasn't terrible, right? Also, another good thing about the Jordan 37 outsole is that it seems very durable, you know? That's the thing that kind of sucks about Nike and like Jordan brand, is that, you know, once you get a little bit more expensive, they give us softer rubber for some reason. And softer rubber means, you know, it'll probably wear out quicker on an outdoor court, even though you're paying more money for the shoe, which never really made sense to me. But here in the 37, like the grooves are deep. Also, the rubber is super hard, like I mentioned, so it seems like it'll be very good for outdoor use as far as like the outsole durability goes. So the traction is pretty much identical to the regular Jordan 37, and also heel to toe transition feels very similar as well, right? So here in the heel, I don't know why they caged it so damn much, but they did. Look at all of this plastic, and it's not even a softer plastic, right? For example, in the WOW 10 or in the Harden Volume 6, they do use a cage, but it's like a softer cage, right? Like a softer type of rubber. But this is like, can you guys hear it? It's a hard ass plastic. So yeah, it feels a little clunky here in the heel, but I mean, you do have a nice little rounded shape, so it's not terrible, but it is a little clunky. And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice rounded shape, and actually a good amount of forefoot flex, even though there is a pretty crazy zoom unit here in the forefoot. So overall heel to toe transition is all right. It's a little clunky here in the heel, just like in the regular Jordan 37, right? And also the cushioning setup is identical too. Right, so here in the forefoot, we still have a crazy double stack zoom strobo unit. So there is a zoom strobo unit in the forefoot right underneath your foot, and then underneath that there is another large volume zoom unit. So there's a lot of compression, a crazy amount of bounce, and honestly a little too much for me. It's even crazier than like the Kyrie Infinity. So, and then of course here in the heel we have Formula 23, which is super underwhelming because of how much they caged it. And also, like, if you look at the insole's alright. You know, like, it's like honestly just a regular Ortholite insole. It feels a little cheap, especially for the price that you're paying for these, right? And then if you look at the strobe board is actually quite stiff. So underfoot cushioning isn't the best in the heel, but obviously in the forefoot with the zoom strobe unit, with double stack zoom strobe unit, it's absolutely insane. So yeah, pretty much identical cushioning setup to the regular Jordan 37. The main difference, of course, is the upper, right? So they're still using Leno weave, and they're calling this a reinforced Leno weave because we all remember what happened with Grant Williams' shoe, right? And it's kind of like a freak accident, you know? I mean, a lot of other players playing the Jordan 37, they haven't really had any problems. But yeah, remember when his foot kind of busted through this Leno weave material, which is insane. So yeah, I mean, look at this. The Leno weave is so damn thin. It's a little flimsy and a little plasticky and glued down, but you know, it's very good for ventilation. It's super minimal, right? So of course they changed it up here in the Jordan 37 low, and the upper is pretty much like completely redesigned, right? So here in the toe box, we actually have a pretty nice like neoprene upper, which I like, and there is a good amount of like, I don't know if it's like a fuse, but it's it seems like a synthetic leather overlay actually, right? Here in the tip of the toe. So that's of course gonna be really good for support and also really good for durability. You know, you're not gonna bust through this, but it's still like pretty thin. It conforms to your foot somewhat well. It's just like where the fuse is a little bit stiffer, or actually a good amount stiffer, right? So here on the lateral side, I'm actually guessing this is leno weave, but it looks like there's like a clear type of plastic over it, of course, for more durability. It does feel like stiff, you know, that's actually good for, you know, support for lateral containment. And then here in the midfoot, we actually have regular leno weave on the lateral and on the medial side. So it's see-through, as you guys can see. So ventilation is really, really good. Look at that. You just see through that, just like the regular Jordan 37, right? And then also, we have this plastic piece, right? So they're calling it like a TPU ribbon, and TPU is just a fancy way of saying plastic, right? So they're calling it the TPU ribbon, and it's supposed to mimic support by like a taped up ankle, which is kind of weird. But honestly, I do like the design. It kind of comes from the heel and wraps around and turns into eyelets. And then also here on like more in the forefoot, on the lateral and medial side of the shoe, we can see it's kind of like it's actually a pretty stiff plastic. You know, pretty rigid as well. So that's good for, of course, support and durability, right? So I feel like with what happened with the regular Jordan 37, they try to reinforce the material a lot more, which I guess is a good thing. I'm actually very curious on weight. Which shoe is going to be lighter? I feel like the 37 is going to be lighter, honestly, right? And also for the tongue, we actually have, you know, neoprene here with some ventilation holes, as you guys can see. And then on top of the tongue, it's very similar, actually identical to the regular Jordan 37, right? So we have a little bit of padding here on top of the tongue, which doesn't really do a whole lot. You're feeling more of the tongue like right here, right? And then here in the ankle area, we actually, it's pretty minimal padding, maybe a little bit less than average. So overall, the material feels super minimal and also supportive, right? And I do like the kind of like a little bit of stretch that you get from this neoprene material here in the toe box. So overall materials is pretty nice. As far as the quality goes, obviously not the best for $175. You know what I mean? I wish they would give us better quality materials, but on foot, it feels nice, right? And also, now moving on to the fit. I went true to size and fits extremely, extremely snug. Like, my toes are like kind of banging a little bit, it feels like right now. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel. I mean, obviously I haven't played in it yet, but I would recommend to most people going up half a size, right? If you want a really, really snug fit, like really snug, then you should be good going true to size. But for a lot of people, I would suggest going up half a size. And I think it should be fine, right? So also here in the toe box, it's actually quite snug, right? And also width-wise, it is pretty narrow. I can definitely feel this part kind of squeezing the side of my foot as well. So I feel like if I went up half a size, it would have been a little bit better, but of course, like I said, I do have to play in it. But normally, you know, I do like a snug fit, but I think it's a little too snug right now, right? So just my advice right now for my first impressions, probably go up half a size to be safe. If you have a wide foot or you want to room your fit, maybe go up a full size, right? It's a really snug fit. And also for support, I feel like it'll be good. You know, like I said, we have this part. This is leno weave, but it's reinforced, right? And also we have the TPU ribbon, right? Kind of like acting like a cage, you know? And you have it here in the forefoot and also here in the heel. You don't really need anything here in the midfoot, so they kept it pretty much very minimum, very bare, which is a good thing. And also, you know, you improve ventilation with the leno weave material. And it's kind of nice because it's you can see the TPU strands, you know, woven into like this kind of like ribbon type of material, right? Like these little straps. And in this like colorway, it's more of like a fuzzier material, which is kind of cool. And then here in the heel, we have like an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, I feel like it's going to be good. And lateral stability, it feels like it's going to be good as well. It's very similar to the Jordan 37. We do have a little bit of an outrigger, right? This part does protrude out here in the forefoot. Let's see which shoe is wider. It's probably going to be the same. Yeah, pretty much the same exact width. So there's that. And obviously it's a low, so you're not going to really get any ankle support. But the Jordan 37 also had pretty bad ankle support. This is a very thin and kind of like flimsy material, right? And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. I feel like, yeah, maybe around the same weight. 12.24 ounces for the low. And then the regular 37 is, oh, it's actually a little bit heavier, 12.5. So that's What? That doesn't make any sense. How is it heavier? That makes absolutely zero sense. I guess, you know, the material here in the low is still like thin, but interesting. But pretty much like the same way. That's not a huge difference, right? So I mean, wasn't really expecting that big of a weight difference. But anyways, as far as the aesthetics go, yeah, the low definitely looks a lot better. There's some really dope PEs as well, like that Jason Tatum's been wearing, and also like the Jordan athletes. So I feel like it looks a lot better than the regular 37, right? And obviously a little bit of inspiration did come from the Jordan 7 with the tongue and also kind of like the exoskeleton, right? So tell us what you guys think looks better, the low or the regular 37. But anyways, as far as my first impressions go, it's definitely looking a little bit better than the 37. I do like this more snug fit here in the low versus the 37. Like this was a little bit roomier, and I like to have a snug fit, so that feels a little bit better for me here in the low, but it feels really identical on foot, right? I had obviously both of the shoes on at the same time, and it's like, you know, the traction and the cushion felt really similar, and the upper very similar because of like super thin materials. Obviously it's a little bit more snug, and I do like the neoprene here in the toe box a little bit better, but it wasn't like that big of a difference, you know. So obviously the 37 low is $10 cheaper, and it'll probably be more durable than the regular 37. So right off the bat, I feel like it is a better buy as far as my first impressions go. So if you are contemplating whether to get the low or the high, I'll probably suggest right now, from my first impressions, that the low is probably the better option, right? But anyways, a performance review will be coming soon. And again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.